All right, bows and bow ties. I have a few minutes. This is what you selected to get into this live. Basically, Black YouTubers love to trauma bond with their subscribers. I should probably turn the light on, but this is how I feel like doing this. All right, so look. Um, Here we go. Let me see. Let's do this. All right. So I just threw up a couple of slides real quick just because I kind of was trolling everybody because I found myself to be amazing. So, okay, how come it's not showing my highlight? Oh, okay. All right. So it's trauma bonding for those of you who are new to my channel. I'm a Black opinionated woman, also known as Bo. So I just grabbed one thing from online. There's multiple definitions for it, but basically what it is it's an attachment between two people, one of whom carries more power in some kind of way over the other. So let me make this larger so you can see. So I have up here, for example, you got like the manosphere, you got Black women who focus on bad Black men, you got some of these femininity coaches. Okay, so basically, like I said, it says it's the attachment between two people, one of whom carries more power in some kind of way over the other. And there are positive reinforcements after periods of emotional, physical, and/or mental abuse, thus leading to trauma bonding. Okay, this becomes a cycle as each time the abuse is perpetrated. Sorry, let me move this so you can see this. Each time the abuse is perpetrated, the perpetrator shows remorse and makes attempts to repair the relationship. Now, of course, this isn't like, I don't think this is like a hard fixed um example of Black YouTubers and their subscribers relationship, but I do feel like Black YouTubers have this trauma bond relationship with their subscribers because right now it just feels like we're just in this period where, is it better to do it like this? Let me bring it like this. I feel like we're just in this period where we're constantly triggering each other. I'm going to move to the next slide. So basically, I like this little caption. It says trauma bonding makes you psychologically addicted to abuse. This explains why going no contact feels like you're coming off of a drug. So basically, in the last sets of videos, I've been talking about how Black women need to heal. I talk about how we need to stop talking about certain things. I talk about staying away from the Black manosphere. I talk about multiple things. And that's because I feel like Black YouTube collectively loves to speak about the same triggering concepts. Okay. So if we're not talking about the manosphere, if we're not talking about uh bad Black men and why women need to divest and all this other stuff, and there's some validity in some of these things, right? But that's all we talk about. I feel like many of these YouTubers have been through a lot, and I do think they have a lot to offer, but I think that they're caught in this cycle, right? Because it generates a lot of attention. It gets a lot of views, and they can monetize um Black anger on both sides. They can monetize off of triggering our people. And the way I see it is, I wish that we would talk about these things, but talk about other things. There's so much more we could be discussing on here. And I'm not saying everything should be high in the sky, pie in the sky, but I do think that there could be a healthy balance. Now, with that being said, do understand when I say this. I am not a large YouTuber for a reason, because I am not basically on the program. What I'm saying is, they're doing the things that they need to do to be successful, and clearly I have not done that. Partially because I think I must have ADD or something, like I don't want to talk about those things all the time, but also I think in order to be successful, you have to have a level of charisma too, right? And it's not that I don't think I'm charismatic, but some people just have the it factor. So look, I will just admit when a thing is a thing. I'm just going to stay consistent with how I want to present myself. But anyway, so I have a little note up here. Subscribers listen to Black YouTube. Basically, they tell them what is wrong with them and the relationships that they're in. So even whether it's Black men in the black manosphere telling women all these bad things, or black women reinforcing these ideas by things like, you know what, these black men, they don't love you, they don't like you. Now, let me just say this: the demographic, or the subsection of the demographic that they're talking about, it's true what they're saying, right? Because if they're focused on a bunch of colorist men, abusive men, etc., of course, and I think that's going to go across multiple race groups and class lines. But if we're lending a level of specificity to our community, right? So when they talk about these bad black actors, of course, what they're saying is right. And like I said, I don't disagree with many of the talking points. I think where the difference lies for me is, I'm like, okay, and now what? We've said these things over and over and over again. And I'm like, so what is next? What is next? And the way I look at it, as much as they like to point out, and I'm saying on both sides, what the other is doing, right? They don't realize they're doing the same thing. And I say, especially our black women, it's like, because they're so smart and intelligent. And I love us. Let me just say, for the record, I really do. But I like to call a spade because I do think there is a blind spot. So, like I said, this applies across the board. When you've got the black manosphere berating black women, right? It goes back to this: trauma bonding makes you I said psychologically, let me rephrase that, physiologically addicted to abuse. This explains why going no contact feels like it's coming off a drug, right? So you've got people who continue to listen to the black manosphere. You've got women. So the women who are talking about femininity and beauty, I think it's a very subtle line that's been drawn, because I feel like that's a type of trauma that's being inflicted on the women, right? Because from what I'm seeing, and look, I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. The women that are promoting this notion of femininity and that type of thing, from what I have seen, so maybe I need to put my banner up in caveat. Everything's just alleged and all that good stuff. These are just opinions. Oh, my son. So one of the things that I'm noticing is that the type of woman that they're promoting, right? So femininity looks one way. And I feel like that's part of the trauma that's being inflicted on our women. Beauty and femininity looks one way. I say that tongue in cheek. Um, the women who are promoting this, they all have the same look, the same face, the same makeup, the same way that they talk. So if you're not talking like this, that's not considered soft and feminine. Or they're calling it the soft life, right? They're calling it all these things. So that's why I feel like, these black YouTubers who even talk about beauty and all that stuff like that, I feel like it's a subtle trauma that's being inflicted on the community, because if they I don't even have a problem with a good wig. And look, I say this as a woman sitting here in some extensions. But as you've seen in my thumbnails and as you've seen me come on live, I change it up all the time. I will wear my hair the way it grows out of my head. Just go back through my channel. I will wear it braided. I will wear it straight and curled and all that kind of stuff. I wear it multiple ways. Okay. But when I think about how they're talking about beauty, I feel like it looks a certain way. Everybody has to have a wig and it needs to look European. And that's not to say that black women can't have straight hair, but I don't see them promoting kinky hair wigs or whatever. Now, for those of you who are wondering why, I know you're not, but let's just pretend you are. Why don't I wear wigs? I just don't like them. I don't like I just my scalp. I don't know. It's just you know. I just don't like to wear wigs. I don't think wigs are bad, but I do feel like we're promoting this aesthetic now, that I feel like we're promoting a certain type of woman. Maybe women who have certain European type features. I don't know. Maybe lose their hair pattern, but definitely you see a lot of people wear the same wig with the you know how I feel about the weird edges, the same makeup, the same really thick eyebrow, the women look like caricatures, right? So that's not to say that makeup is bad because I do wear makeup on, too. You guys just don't normally see me in it. I actually had a little bit on today. Um, anyway, so that's what I'm saying. You got these people who are listening to these groups of people tell them how bad they are. You know what I mean? And like, but you know what? We need to do better. And then what they do is like they talk about their bad relationships, how relationships that they may be in are so bad. And oftentimes it's true. And then they find a way to bring it back. But we need to do this. We need to make it seem like they're one and the same. And so what happens is people feel like they're in community with and they are actually women who convince themselves that their black relationships are impossible in all forms. Like I said, when I listen to some of these content creators, I'm like, especially the black women, and I love us. So that's the thing. I'm so biased because I don't like to cape for black men, but when I'm calling out black women, I can't think of any of the relationships that they talk about that are positive. They don't like their relationships with older family members, and I get it because there's been trauma there. They don't like relationships with other black women, hence this, what happened with the Shanquilla thing. They don't like their relationships with black men. Apparently, black men are the antichrist. They don't like their relationship with the church. They don't like their relationship with white people. I'm like, I don't understand. Well, who do you like your relationships with? Who are you? What will make you happy? What makes you happy? That's what I want to know about. All right, I'm almost done. I think I've got one more slide here. All right, so look, this is what I say. You need to break these chains. Break these chains. That's a Tasha Cobbs song for those of you. Oh, Tasha Cobbs, gospel singer. You need to break these chains. You got to get away. You know, I had to put a picture of Southwest up there. Now, for me, I'm a big fan of travel. I have positioned myself that I can do that, but you don't have to, be ballerific to travel. But I do think people need to break away from some of the time, like they're dedicating too many cycles to some of the content creators out there. When we stopped when we stop feeding that type of content, people will make other content or they'll go away. I don't want to see these content creators go away at all because I think these content creators are still very intelligent women. Some of them are quite angry. Like I said, I had to take a break from listening to them because I just kind of felt like it was becoming quite oppressive to me and depressing. I felt like it was like a modern day dystopia. And maybe we are living in a modern day dystopian society. But I feel like people need to take a break, get away. I believe that if instead of listening to your favorite YouTube or um, maybe TikTok or Instagram or whatever, get go find somebody else, go do something else. You got to find a new hobby. But we got to get away from that for a while. We got to stop continuously listening to people pour the same type of information into our bodies because what happens is even when they're not saying something, they're saying something because they're painting a picture around it. We need to go read some new books for fun. Nothing, don't even read educational books. Go read a fun book because even when reading fun books, which I still do, you still learn new things. You still learn. For those of you who say you're trying to heal, I don't know if you're really healing. Maybe you need to really go get on somebody's couch, a real one. I don't know. You need to go talk to somebody and get some coping mechanisms because right now there's this unhealthy relationship with listening to YouTubers talk about the same negative stuff. And when you start to sever those ties for a period of time, I think that you're going to go through withdrawal. You need to find a way to figure out how you're going to handle that. What are you going to do to replace that? Because I think people are super addicted to listening to these people, going on these panels, etc. I think you might even need to get off of social media for a period of time. I think that what's going to need to happen. I think the only person you should listen to all the time is me, because I might be a narcissist. All right. Oh, I feel like I have a hiccup and a yawn and a sigh at the same time. I mean, what's going on? Sure. Look, these are just my both thoughts. Okay. Look, I don't claim to have all the answers, but these are my both thoughts. These are my Black opinionated women thoughts. And if you even remotely liked what you heard, this is a great opportunity for you to subscribe and like and leave a comment for sure. All right. But I just want to make this clear. We've got to take a break from some of this content. When I was doing basic searches in YouTube and trying to look up topics and stuff, just trying to understand how this YouTube thing works, everything that was being recommended to me, even when I was trying to I was using the chat GPT for something. I was like, let me try this out. This was just last week, trying to figure out how to use this, right? And I remember all the stuff they were telling me in relation to Black women was actually based on like a lot of the same topics I say that always that Black people talk about. It was all based off of like beauty, hair, et cetera, et cetera. Like I was just kind of like, we got to start talking about something else. We got to stop talking about how bad the Black man is. We know that a lot of them are messed up, but also we engage in some confirmation bias. We see the data that's out there, but also a lot of people don't look at these statistics and engage in any sort of critical thinking. They don't talk to any data scientists. So they take them and read them blindly. I think these topics, we need to do better with curating our topics. Right now, much of what we talk about en masse, of course, there's always exceptions to the rule. And if you're trying to point out somebody that's an exception to the rule, all you're doing is just reaffirming to me that most of the content is what it is. Of course, there are exceptions. But what I'm saying is much of what we talk about in Black YouTube space is the same thing. All right. Now, if it were up to me, we would talk about more travel because that's what I'm interested in. All right. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts.